Hello and welcome to another new episode of Learning Simplified. In this tutorial, we are going to apply the CSS filter effects on some background image. That means we will be using here an image as a background source of a definite div element here. And as we can see that this is practically the background image where I had applied this CSS filter effect, and now I am definitely capable to write over it, to insert any format of text element over it and use them accordingly to our project. So this is what we will be practically learning in this tutorial. So let's head back to our project, and as usual in the first place we will be creating a div element with a class name of into something different like this background image or background holder. Now the general rule that we are practically about to apply here, first of all let's create all those elements, and we'll be typing in as this is not an image source. There it goes. So let's press Ctrl S and let's head back to our project and reload, and we can see that this will be the result. As usual, this is not an image source, just this text which is been inserted into our project so far. The first thing is we will be creating a containing class which will be holding all those contents inside, and there we have to use a pseudo element like before. Now this is the part up to which is practically very common that you might be finding on internet, but the next part which I am about to tell here is a little bit different. Now using this CSS pseudo element before, the purpose of it will be practically pretending to hold all the contents inside, but actually in actuality the purpose of creating this pseudo element is to hold the image itself which we are about to use as a background of this individual div element, and nothing else. Nothing should be placed onto it. This is the fact, this is the key part of this whole tutorial. It won't be holding any kind of significant content into it except the image itself, and it will be always positioned into an absolute position. So this is the first thing that we need to create. Let's head back to our project, and here first of all we will be copying this class name. Let's head back to style.css, and here we will be creating that class name first of all here, and we will be putting all the CSS properties those we need. So the width is 100%, the height is 100%, and as the parent holder it should be positioned as relative, as we are about to use an absolute position into the pseudo element. So that is why we need to specify what should be the position of the parent holder. If we do not specify anything right over here, then the whole window document that is been created here, it should be regarded as the parent holder, which is not desired in this particular case. Let's head back to our project first. There goes the project, and now we have specified this position to relative, and as I had said, we will be using a class name here. This is the pseudo element. Now we are about to put some content here, so the content will be null as we had specified earlier. The position will be absolute. There it goes, and from top it should be 0, from left it should be 0, and this is the part where we are practically about to create our background. As we had mentioned earlier, that the pseudo element is actually the holder which is going to hold the background image. So let's put it right over here, There it goes. And we are using this images folder, and then we'll be using this 4.jpg extension here. And on the other hand, as we had mentioned earlier, that the background size we wish to place, it should cover up the whole div element. There it goes. And the image will be non-repetitive as been mentioned earlier. So no repeat. Now up to this far it is alright. In the next case, now we need to create something inside that will be practically holding up the content that we wish to insert into. So in that particular case, all we need to do, let's head back to index.html, and we can see that this is the content part so far that we are about to use. But instead of some kind of header tag, you might use some different div elements right over here, or you may be using a single div element. So this is practically depending upon your choice what you are about to use here. We'll be using this h1 class here. So let's head back to style.css, and here we will be now providing some property to it, like the font size is 4 Arial. The color is, it should be something like this one. And on the other hand, first of all, we won't be putting anything else into it. We need to mention this width and 100% width and height property in the exact same pseudo element where we had inserted this image. And in the first case, as I had mentioned you earlier, that instead of putting some percentage value, in the very earlier case, we will be using an absolute unit like this 400 pixels. So we had placed this height, we had set this height to 400 pixels, and in the similar manner, we will be doing so right over here. 400 pixels. Press Ctrl S, head back and reload, and now we can see that we are practically now successful to import the image as a background image of the div element that we have created. But I think there is another problem. We are not practically able to view the text element that we had inserted. Remember, there comes the h1 header element that we had created in this purpose, but this exact thing is now being unseen into our project. So this is the next thing that we need to do. In that particular case, we need to head back to style.css, and here into this h1 tag, we need to specify the position property here too, and definitely it should be placed as relative. So position is relative. Now reload, and now you can see that the text element is practically being visible into our project.